Future of Parts Department panel joining us so far. And if we could get your moderator, Ed, to join us, we'd appreciate that. Thanks for being here. You guys feel free to unmute your mics right now if you'd like to. Ed Roberts.
How we doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Excellent.
All right.
Got a great panel set up here today. The Back to the Future certainly fits our panel, the Back to the Future theme, because we truly need to take our parts into the future. We've been stuck in time here. So we got a couple more people joining. Andreas and from RevolutionParts, and Jim's going to be joining us from Uber. There's been some opportunities that was presented to us with COVID, and what have we learned during COVID that allows us the opportunity to enhance and grow in parts departments? Have you guys done anything different with parts delivery or anything?
Well, we had a pretty active wholesale department already, and we use a delivery service for, take stuff within a 100-mile radius of us. And we have 4 trucks that we run, 3 all the time in a hot shot truck. But some of the things that we're trying is, like, if customers that don't want to come in, we offer touch-free delivery, free pickup delivery, touch-free drop-off. And so we thought about, maybe for our customers that wanted parts delivered that didn't want to come into the dealership, while we're out picking up cars, we have to use, because of corporate rules, we have to use our own vans. So we decided that, hey, if a customer wants a part and they want to go ahead and prepay for it, we'll drop it off in a shuttle van while we're out doing a pickup and delivery, because with the COVID thing right now, we're not allowed to pick up customers in our van. So we've turned them into pickup and delivery transporters and parts drop-off vehicles. So it's working pretty well.
Perfect. So now with Andreas joining us and Jim coming on board, that's going to kind of tie in here. When someone calls to, or when someone needs a part from you, David, how do they do that? Do they call your parts department? Is there an online catalog, or how does that come about, and then you deliver it to them?
We don't have the kind of online catalog that Andreas' team puts out, but we have a decent online catalog, and customers call in, we look up the parts for them, and we collect payment over the phone and then just do the drop off. The biggest impact is in correlation with our pickup and delivery and working with the parts department and the BDC, we're able to secure a lot of parts online for customers that are getting ready to bring their car in for service. So that's helped a lot.
Right. Okay. Andreas, Jim, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you. So this is a Back to the Future theme, and I think this is perfect because it gives us the opportunity to take our parts department from the Stone Age to the future. And Andreas, why don't you tell us how we can do that?
Yeah, that's right. I was listening to John in the previous session. When do you start investing and when do you kind of bring your business forward? I think the parts department has lived a lot on the phone, right, or kind of walk up business in the retail counter. And so what we're seeing is, sales are moving online, consumer expectations about contactless delivery or different ways on sort of getting the parts on the way they want to see it, right? Not the way we want to see them, for example, walk into the retail counter. Those expectations are changing. I can tell you right now, we're seeing 25% more part sales online than pre-COVID. So it's just a tremendous shift where people are going online. They're expecting to be able to find the information about your parts and inventory online. And, when it comes to order or the service level you can provide them to bring the part to them, I think there's just so much innovation around what Uber for Business is doing and others, right? That parts departments should start building those additional channels and not necessarily just rely on what they've been doing for years. To John's point, I remember sitting in a Starbucks about 7 years ago where they announced, hey, we're going to start having a drive-through at Starbucks. And I thought, oh, God, now they're going to ruin my coffee experience with their drive-through, et cetera. But here in Arizona, man, Starbucks was killing it with their drive-through during COVID, right? I mean, they were able to keep that open. So I think the question is, right, if Starbucks hadn't made that investment years ago, they would be in a very different situation. If your parts department is not making the investment to go where the consumers are, where they expect you to be, then, the next thing that comes along and kind of disrupts the way business is done, you want to be ready with multiple ways of doing business and multiple avenues. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I have that's going on right now in the space.
Exactly. What we want isn't necessarily what our customers want. And we got to meet them at their level. And if they are looking for parts, that there's a need for it. And that's got to come from that part showing up to them with where they're at, with what they're doing, whether they're DIYs or wholesalers or whatever. They got to be able to find that part, find out where it's at, and then have it brought to them. That's what they want. We want to bring them in because we want to show them cars. We want to show them whatever. Or our wants don't necessarily meet their needs. And we got to meet them at their needs and then build from there. Jim, how can you come into play on that?
Yeah, I think it's all about what Andreas said. Consumer expectations are super high, right? Between Amazon and everybody else who's really raised the bar on how fast you can get what you want to get. And so I think that Uber Direct is going to be a fantastic solution. As Andreas mentioned, there's other players in this space as well. As a parts director, parts manager, look to see how you can extend your delivery fleet through these on-demand solutions and take care of both your wholesale customers and your retail customers, at the speed that the customers are demanding. If you tell them that you're not going to be able to get them a part till tomorrow morning, or you've missed the cutoff in the afternoon, you've likely just lost a customer. So stop having to say no. Tap into these resources like Uber Direct and Revolution Parts and be able to say yes on the phone every time when somebody needs to get a part hot-shotted to a car that's on the lift.
So it sounds like if I'm putting this together right, with the program that Andreas has, we can look up the part, find a way to find where it's at, and have it delivered same day. If that's accurate, that's better than Amazon. Everybody says, let's be like Amazon, but if I can get it to you the same day, we're exceeding those expectations. We're exceeding that.
That's right,
there's no tomorrow.
That's right, Ed. I mean, I think the parts department has something that Amazon does not have, and that is parts expertise beyond anyone else, right? I think that's why people are calling in, right? The parts department staff and the counter men and women, right? They have the expertise to get the right part to you, right? Let's now exceed their expectation and say, hey, would you like that within an hour? And in my experience, consumers will pay for that additional service, right? Consumers do it all day long today. They say, you know what, I want to get food delivered. There's a delivery fee. And so what we enable you to do on that phone call is to quote not only the part, but hey, would you like that delivered for an extra $15, $20? And you might be surprised how you sort of take that phone order, digitize it, and send the consumer a real-time tracking link when that's headed to their door. I mean, imagine that experience versus sort of asking them to come in and pick it up. Wouldn't you love to have that option, right? As a consumer, that someone just offered you to do that. So, that's just one example of how you can innovate and use it. And I think Jim brought up some other examples on how it could be used to exceed your customers' expectations.
Yeah, time is key. And once we lose it, we can't get it back. Tully will tell you that. And there's nothing more true than that. And Uber kind of fits that, because we use Uber to get around rather than rent a car, because we can multitask. And so we can make more of our time while we're riding somewhere and making phone calls and sending text messages and responding to emails. And the same thing can happen here while we're waiting on that part to get there. We can go ahead and start taking it off. We can be prepared for when it arrives that we're ready to do it. So it's a perfect tie together. What needs to take place for this to happen? Do you already have a database, Andreas, for this to tie in? Is there a link that goes onto a website? How does this pull in? How do we get there?
Yeah, we have two interfaces for the dealers. We can certainly install. A consumer can go on your website and shop your inventory and parts catalog online, pay online, and so the order already comes prepaid into the parts department, ready to be fulfilled or shipped out. We also have what I just mentioned, a quoting interface where the quote can be built right on the dealer's side of our interface, and it will give you the real-time quote for how much it would be to either ship it if it's further away, or hot-shotted, like Jim described. So those quotes will be there. So while you're on the phone with the customer and taking the payment, you know exactly the cost to you and to the customer to get that to them, whatever the preferred method is.
Because they're putting their address in the program and it's already calculated there.
Yep.
Perfect. The some other alternate delivery sources? So is there an option for them because they may be already at the store or en route or nearby? So is there an option where they can stop by and pick it up as well, or do they have to have delivery service?
No, of course. So there's an option to, take their card over the phone and just say, hey, we're going to will call this. And so whenever you come in, we have it ready to go and you've already paid it. So now when you show up at the dealership, you don't even have to run the credit card, right? And kind of have that contactless payment is already done for you.
Jim, what would be the typical response time to having somebody available to be able to pick that part up and deliver?
So typically with Uber Eats data, and we've got a couple years worth of Uber Eats data, when you hail that courier to come pick up your parts, they're only typically about 5 minutes away. So there's really not much faster method you can use to get the parts from point A to point B, from your dealership to that IRF or to that home or whatever it is. So we always tell everybody, have the parts ready to go before you call the Uber Direct courier, because he or she is going to show up there pretty quickly. With 1 million plus drivers out there in the country ready for these hails, you got to be ready, and you don't want to slow them down. Speed is what people are willing to pay for. And one point about scale too, the aftermarket has scaled up their delivery fleets, their delivery options. They're not sitting still, and neither should dealership parts departments sit still. And now they've got a tool to kind of level the playing field with Revolution Parts and other solutions, and Uber Direct and other solutions. They can level the playing field with that Napa store that's got 10 or 15 cars delivering parts. You've got a scalable solution right at your fingertips.
We're going more than level it because we're delivering a factory part. But talking about taking it to the future, there's tons of opportunity for us to enhance our online presence with the parts department. And we've kind of negated parts because they've kind of been along for the ride with service. And service has kind of provided that business for them, so they hadn't really had to chase it. So it's kind of changing the mindset of that. But Jim, a question for you. With Uber, we can track where you're at and how far away you are. Is there a tracking way on this? Does that tie in as well? So I can see how far out you are?
It does. Yeah, absolutely. So once that order is placed, you can see the courier getting closer to your dealership ready to pick it up. And both you and the recipient can also track the progress of the delivery from your dealership to the repair center. So everybody knows when it's coming and when it arrives and when it gets dropped off. So there's complete visibility, and nobody has to have the app either, which is nice. It's a texted link that you can watch the progress of delivery on your phone. So ultimate transparency, and you can be ready when that part gets there with the car torn down to put the part right on the car.
Perfect. Welcome back, Paul.
Techno issues. It's been working great all day. The minute I go into, bam, knocks me out.
Hey, we overcome the obstacles. That's what we do in the service business.
So I missed most of what you guys said. Sorry. So
you can kind of chime in here. We're kind of talking about what did COVID-19 do for us as far as to allow us to enhance our parts department, because it's kind of been a department that just kind of lingers out there that kind of rides on the shirt tails of service. And one of the things that we talked about was an online catalog system with Andreas, and then a delivery service that far exceeds what Amazon can do, because Amazon's at least next day if you're a Prime customer, but could be 2-3 days out. Especially in the times that we're in right now with the backlog that they have, and the gym could get it there the same day. So, or within hours, sometimes even within minutes. So what's your take on some areas of opportunity in the parts department?
Well, what we've learned is that with millions of people being at home for several months now, everybody's internet service has gone down quality-wise, quite frankly, because everybody's on the internet, and including me today. Everybody's on the internet. They're looking to buy things. They're looking to research things. They're fixing things around the house that they've been putting off for a while. And that includes some do-it-yourself mechanics, right? They say the mechanic's car is always the last one to be fixed. Well, what COVID has taught us is that, as you said, a very small percentage of dealerships actually have an online store for parts. It's not been the focus. Now, you think service hasn't been the focus? nobody really has much of an online store other than for sales, minute portions for service specials, but nothing for parts. So now that we know a lot of people are at home, what it's taught us is that we need to really step up our parts game. Okay, because there's not as many people walking into the parts department as before. So we need to step up our parts game. And before it was build it and they will come. That's no longer the case. Now it's pretty much build it and they won't come. So what it's taught us is we've learned that we need to incorporate more video into our process. We've seen that from several of the speakers today. Couldn't be any more true. So why not? And I believe Revolution Parts does this well. You broadcast the fact that the store now has an online parts store, and you advertise that throughout all of the different channels, and some of that includes video. So it's taught us that that's really what we need to do. We need to spend more time promoting our parts department because it's opening up a whole new income stream that maybe we didn't look at before. Sure, there's one or two dealers that are known for having huge parts stores, but why can't everybody have a huge parts store? If you put it out there that you do, now with this new delivery system with Uber, I mean, seriously, the best Amazon can do is overnight, maybe, but it's typically 2 days. And during COVID, some of my Amazon Express orders were 4 or 5 days. So if I can if I'm at home and I need to do a job because I'm not going to work, but I need to fix my brakes, whatever the case may be, I know the auto parts store isn't delivering it. So I can go to your online store and I can have that delivered. There's a local dealer in my town within an hour. I mean, that's incredible service. So I think that's one of the biggest things that it's taught us.
So if we pull this off correctly, maybe the next meeting or next year, and we're talking about this stuff, everybody will reference, how can we be like your town car dealership as we get parts delivered to us, blah, 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 as everybody compares to Amazon now. And the question I had for you, Andreas, just because I want to let everybody to be informed, and I want to talk about how we can put this together, is there pictures? Because a lot of times the consumer calls something different than what engineering calls it and what it turns into be in our parts department. So is there pictures to relate that stuff to?
Yeah, no, great question. We have both sort of more, EPC like line drawings, but we also have color photos for a lot of the parts. Just to give you an example on kind of, part of what we work on is in making it a more engaging product. So we worked with an OEM that supported us with videos for accessories, just to explain why would you want to buy this accessory, what is it used for? And through just adding more engaging content, like an explainer video, we ended up selling twice as many accessories online for that OEM. So, we're working directly to bring in more color photos and videos with OEMs or dealers or other sources that we can get that to help drive that traffic. I wanted to make one more point around delivery as well that we've seen is, the parts department should be working hand in hand with the service departments to take care of the customers in the service lane, which is traditionally a big part of it. And so one thing that we've seen is using the local delivery to pick up a part from another dealer and bring it within an hour back to the dealership to take care of and turn that customer today, right? Instead of maybe waiting 4 or 5 hours for kind of the route driver to get over to that dealer and bring it back. So that's another one we've seen. There's one other thing that I hear a lot of questions from dealerships is like, well, I have a big route driver network. Why do I need something like this, right? And I think that one thing that surprised us was the number of dealerships using it to deliver last-minute parts to a collision shop, to help that collision shop with their cycle time. So I think there's these cases where, yes, route drivers are great when you have it on the cycle time with the collision shop, but when you have a rush situation or maybe a driver is out, you need to get it over there, you can now extend and meet your SLAs and exceed your customer expectations, whether it's wholesale and retail. So I think the sky's the limit in terms of the innovation that can be done on top of the tools that are now available, which I'm just super excited about, providing and seeing people innovate on top of, what I can't even imagine.
One other thing I'd like to add in is that right now, everybody's watching every penny. Right? Expenses are being watched. Vendors are being trimmed. The dollar you spend is looked at as though you're spending $5,000. When you can deliver more parts this way, the cost of your fleet goes down. You have less expense, less gas, less exposure, less wear and tear, less maintenance. These are all things that cost your store money.
Dealerships has traditionally been a hurry up and wait. This turns dealerships into a now business, and it's how we use it. It's whether it's dealer to dealer, whether it's dealer to customer, dealer to wholesaler. This takes us to the future that this whole theme is about. And Ted, Gene, I greatly appreciate you guys putting this together. You guys have done a phenomenal job, and blessed to be a part of it. Great feedback, guys. Andreas, can you tell us how we can get the ball rolling with that? Can you give us a quick synopsis of that?
Yeah, certainly go to revolutionparts.com, call us, and we'll set up a demo to show you how we do this. If you have obsolete parts, we help you connect to eBay and other channels, and even your own website to get those parts moving and turning out of your inventory. And we're looking forward to partner with all of you. So really appreciate you guys being on the webinar, and for Ted and Gene for putting together this event.
And another thing, this is additional income that we're not getting right now.
That's right.
It's an opportunity to drive income into the store. And I think that's what our job is.
Amen, Ed. Great job, everybody. Thank you so much. Andreas, thank you so much. Revolution Parts, thank you for joining us. Jim Bauman, Uber, Paul Meyer, David Blackburn, first Fix Ops Roundtable for you. Welcome. So we appreciate it. Great to be here.